Logging activity in the CRM is incredibly important, and that's what we'll cover in this video today. Is how to log activity within HubSpot in the CRM on a contact record. The process between a contact record and company record, or deal record for that matter, is all the same. One thing to note though, that is if you watched our setup videos and connected your phone number, connected your email address, connected your calendar, that a lot of those activities that you're conducting in Outlook, in the app, HubSpot app with phone calling, is automatically logged into HubSpot. You always want to verify that that activity is going into HubSpot, but a lot of the manual work of going into HubSpot and logging those activities is already being done with those integrations. However, there still is value in knowing how to go into HubSpot and manually logging these activities, as you might be in the car when a phone call comes in, or you might be at a conference where an impromptu meeting happens, or you have a conversation that you'll need to then go back in later and log into HubSpot. So if we start off on our dashboard, we can go to our contacts records by going over to the left and then contacts. And then once we're looking at our contacts, we can click our test lead here. And I know we already covered the layout of this record, so want to focus on logging any sort of activity in HubSpot. The first type of activity we have over here under our summary information is note, and that's just an internal note that can be logged and shared between users. Other users can be tagged in these notes if you want to notify or keep them in the loop of something internal that might be important to keep in mind, or a new piece of collateral that we want to share with this client, etc. So those can be valuable. One thing to note here is that any activity logged in HubSpot gives you the option to automatically create a follow-up task after you log that said activity. So we can see checking this box will create a to-do task to follow up in 3 business days. The number of days can be modified from any default option all the way to a custom date you select. But if you check this box and log any of these activities in HubSpot, it'll automatically create that follow-up task, which saves you time and clicks of having to go back and create a task manually. But we'll cover that as well here shortly. So we'll create note. And as you see, with any activity in HubSpot that we create, right, it'll automatically show up in this center activity section. So we see our note here with wool grubs mentioned, but also that task we had created is also right above that in upcoming. So those are notes. If we go to emails, we have 2 options for emails. We can send an email now, or we can go back and log an email. That was happened previously. To send an email now, we can click the email button, and that'll open up our email creator to where we can type in the subject of the email, the body of the email, and then either send that email now, send that email later, as well as it gives us the option again to create that follow-up task on that contact record. One thing to note, within this window, you can leverage templates, sequences, documents to embed right in the email. That's always awesome. Meeting links and or quotes. You can also BCC or CC other contacts or internal team members onto these emails. And then down below, you have the option to modify the text, hyperlink, add photos, insert documents, meeting links, invoices, payments, videos, as well as add attachments to the email. So super cool. Once you have all the information in that email, we can hit send. And it'll send that email. Again, we can see that activity appearing right in the middle on the contact record. Another way you can send an email is by clicking the email tab up here. This will also filter all the activity in the middle to only emails, but you can see we can also hit create email to pull up that window creator and or log an email that happened previously. You can see we're able to copy and paste that email if we want, or you can type that email, but also change the time that email happened. Please note that HubSpot does have a BCC forwarding address that you can forward any previous emails to, and it'll log those emails on the contact record without having to go through this manual email logging. The next type of activity that is commonly logged in HubSpot are calls. If we click our call button, that'll give us an option to call any of the phone numbers on that contact record. And then below, you can see that the number we connected previously to HubSpot is the number we're calling from, as well as our phone being the device. If we click that phone number, it's going to pop open a window and start calling that person. Your phone, as my phone right now is ringing, your phone will start to ring. And once you answer that phone call, it'll start ringing that prospect, allowing you then to be on the phone, take notes on that call. And then once that call is over, you can hit this red button. It'll hang up on your phone and then allow you to select the outcome, the call type, and we'll just populate this so we can see what this looks like. As well as create a follow-up task like we mentioned earlier. But if we hit save call, we can again see that call populate here under our calls. We marked it as connected. The duration is 0 because we did not connect. If you have call recording, a recording of the call will also be available on this task. A lot of good information on that call. Alternatively, other than hitting the call icon, we can hit make a phone call here. Or if a phone call happened previously and we want to log that call again, if we're on the road, etc., we can hit log call and populate all the details of what that call included on the record in HubSpot. Hit log call, and that call will appear in that middle activity section. Next is task. The next type of activity is a task. So if you want to follow up with somebody in the future, you can hit the task button here and add the details of that task. So we can do test task, add an activity date when that task is due, as well as the time. Also, if we want to create a reminder to let us know that task is due soon, we can up here. You can also set the task to repeat for any specific number of days, weeks, months, years. Great for contract renewals or any type of renewals in general, as well as add any other information for the task below that, whether that be the type or a queue, which we cover in a different video that is super valuable in HubSpot, and then any notes. And then we can go ahead down here to the bottom and hit create task. And we can now see that that task we just created is also reoccurring right here at the bottom. Alternatively, we can go to this task tab up here at the top and hit create task, and that'll take us to the same window we just saw when we hit the task icon over here and created that task just now. Last but not least, for as far as default icons and default activity options, we can click meeting. And if we have our calendars connected, you can see that over here on the right, it'll show us all of our meetings we have scheduled as well as conflicts. I have that blocked right now just to keep that private. But over on the left, we have the user the meeting's being created for, the title of the meeting, the start date and time, which will change as you click your availability over on the right. You can populate the meeting type as well as the attendees. And if you do not see someone you want on this meeting, you can search the contacts that you want added. I don't know if we have a bill. We do have a bill with NBC News. All those are test contacts. So we can add attendees to that meeting if we wanted, as well as add a location. Reminder emails are great to send a reminder email 3 days before or maybe even hours before if it's at a conference. Include the attendee description in the reminder email body, as well as you can add any description you want included in that meeting invite. Once we have all that information in there, we can hit save. Once you hit save, it is going to send a calendar invite to the prospect or the contacts you added to that meeting invite. It's also going to add that meeting on your calendar as well in Outlook or Gmail. So please keep that in mind, but that is how you would log a meeting. If we go over here to the left and hit more, there are quite a few other activity options that you can log in HubSpot, whether that be a LinkedIn message, a text message, postal mail if we're sending hard mailers, etc. But there are other options for activity if you want to get those logged. But that's a summary and logging activity in HubSpot. Hope this helps. Have a good one.